Trinitat Ex Nova, the dream of a lifetime. This is the story of how a poor working-class district became a respectable neighborhood thanks to the initiative, strength and common vision of residents. Welcome to Trinitat Nova. The gradual mechanization of agricultural work in the 50s pushed many people to leave farm work and move to the city of Barcelona, where there were better living conditions. They became the workforce for renewed industrialization and services. They found stable employment and a place to live, helping their lives to improve. The lack of housing surpassed all predictions for growth. The difficulty of finding space in the city, combined with property speculation, meant that the official organizations and institutions at the time decided to build social housing estates quickly without taking enough time for proper planning. The solution to the population problem created a slum area on the outskirts of the city without any transport or communications, and which only housed slum dwellers and newly arrived immigrants. The low quality of the materials provided would go on to cause structural issues and urban soundproofing problems. This meant that over the years the properties had to be demolished as they were impossible to live in. The new circumstances forced residents to work together to find the energy to achieve the goal they had always been fighting for. The structure of the neighborhood model was defined by the lack of resources and the close ties between local residents. It created a strong, cohesive social movement and became one of the first neighborhood associations in the country. Trinitat Nova is a clear case of the urban growth model of the time, with consequences such as marginalization, rootlessness, and social struggles that have lasted for years. Within the context of the city of Barcelona, the neighborhood was seen as an accident of no interest to the rest of the metropolitan area. It offered no specific services or activities and only served as somewhere to sleep for its inhabitants. Neighborhood meetings constantly highlighted the problems in the neighborhood, managing to attract resources and professionals to offer viable solutions. There was no shortage of tension and disagreements that hindered and slowed down the process. In 1996, the Neighborhood Association took the initiative of creating a plan for social and community development. This meant tearing down a third of the total properties affected by aluminosis and carbonation. They were rebuilt within a new urban framework as part of a planning process that was participative from the beginning and aimed to mobilize efforts for a sustainable space. All of the programs drawn up within the community plan began with conversations and meetings involving people in the decision-making process and rejecting ready-made solutions, listening to the different parties involved in the local area, entities, associations, services, people taking the initiative, etc. In terms of town planning, drafting technically viable proposals with the involvement of inhabitants, professionals who work in the neighborhood, and experts from a range of different fields, including town planners, architects, sociologists, social psychologists, ecologists, etc., comparing experiences on a national and European level. For the newly built housing, the buildings and designs were made by taking into account the criteria for habitability, durability, versatility, and savings for energy and material resources, making use of passive bioclimatic design and using renewable energy. The project execution took into account the construction process and rehousing of inhabitants during the demolition process, meaning that there is less of an impact on urban life during each stage. At present, authorities have begun the second phase of the rehabilitation project for the neighborhood, which plans to assign 607 properties to the inhabitants who lived in buildings with aluminosis. Out of these cases, 542 have already moved, and the project should be completed during the first quarter of 2017. Children who used to run along dirt paths are now older and walk slowly through the gardens, soaking up the sunshine. Time has moved on. A dream has become reality, and a lifetime has passed. When you love a city like Barcelona, you love it as a whole, not just certain parts. But unfortunately, as so often happens, we do not appreciate what we love.